I never thought that parenting would be that difficult. I figured that, okay, if there were going to be problems with our children, we'd work it out. Anyone I knew who had difficulty with their children, well, in my mind at least, were somewhat partly to blame. Let's see, one neighbor of mine was divorced. Another set of parents, well, they were always just screaming at their children and at each other. Another family I know, well, they actually had two children who went off the derech, but they really had the worst personalities I'd ever seen. The last few years, though, it really taught me a different story. I'd say that probably most of my friends at this point are now grappling with some issue in one way or another with their kids. Our family situation began about 5 years ago. Our oldest son, he was our greatest pride. He was funny, he was pleasant. Everyone just loved him. And then when he turned about 16 or so, we began realizing that we really didn't know him anymore.
There were many missing pieces. We didn't know where he went when he wasn't in yeshiva. We didn't know his friends. One day I walked into his room and saw him on his bed with a laptop. Where did he get it? When I asked questions, I didn't get answers. One day we were confident parents. The next day we couldn't do the simplest parenting tasks correctly. I truly believe things couldn't get worse. But I soon learned that life is never so bad that it can't get a little worse.
Before we knew it, our son comes into the room one day and announces that he's not going back to school. His principal had already had called us that day to tell us that he was ready to ask our son to leave the school because of his influence on his classmates. I don't know, it was just all downhill from there. He stayed out all night and then slept all day and seemed to kind of enjoy all the comforts of his personal hotel, our home. But we tried a number of recommended therapists and a couple of alternative programs, but he really wasn't interested in giving any of it a real chance. And it soon became impossible to then kind of see that all of our family's income was now being diverted to this one child, and now we still had nothing to show for it.
As soon as we started accepting our son as he was, we were faced with another surprise. Cocaine, rehab, police, inpatient facilities, outpatient facilities. Life became a blur. We cried until there were no more tears. Our other children became angry, confused, and frustrated as well. We were tired of being embarrassed, tired of taking advice from people who didn't know much more than we did, tired of spending so much energy on things that just didn't work. We were just tired. Would this ever end? And the stories, suicides, overdoses, would our son even be alive next year? It all just seems unfair.
The last 2 years have just left me totally drained. My learning, davening, let's just say they've both suffered quite a bit. I just couldn't find any answers, and my pain has just accompanied me every day. It seems like we tried literally everything. And for the first time in my life, I had questions. Was there any hope? Doesn't Hashem always offer help to those in need?
I've reached the end of my rope. I woke up at 3 a.m. and our son wasn't in his bed. Where was he? I couldn't stand tossing in bed worrying, so I got in the car and drove up and down the streets. I saw so many kids on the street corners, so many. But none of them was mine. Was he all right? Does he care about us at all? Why can't we reach him? After 2.5 years of this roller coaster ride, I was feeling pretty desperate. I met a woman who had a son with similar experiences. Her son, who was just a few years older than ours, seemed to be doing a little better. She showed me a newspaper ad with a phone number on it for a group called Areivim. I don't know. I don't think our son would listen to anything I have to say.
I'm constantly worried about the future. What would our son look like 5 years from now? And what about our other children? Would we even still be a family? Would we be a part of the community? I'm trying to listen, but he doesn't seem to want to talk anymore.